of Guyana, of jungles, rivers, and savanna. Customs, habits may differ, but true songs they are of Guyana. Our walks and morals of the
Building behind me is a banab. It is called the GUYANA, or Community Meeting Place, built by the YY people of Guyana. Standing as it does just a few yards from the modern Pegasus Hotel here in Georgetown, it symbolizes the many contradictions between the indigenous peoples of the Americas and those of us whose ancestors came after the voyage of Columbus.
They were in South America by about 12, 14,000 years ago, having entered the continent from the northwest, Canada, Alaska, the Bering Straits.
Jamaica down to Guyana shores, was red man's land not so long ago. So all who live there now never forget the ancient ways.
Belize, the Garifunas of Belize. I was just there a couple of weeks ago, and I thought that I was there before. The familiarity was there. One particular experience strikes me here when I went to visit the spiritual church, and the priestess, when she shook my hand, said, "Okay, we've been waiting for you a long time, and now you're here." And I felt as though there was a sort of vibration through my entire body.
DESREY Fox of the Amerindian Research Unit in the University of Guyana is an Akawayo, one of the 9 surviving Amerindian tribes in Guyana. She invited me to a picnic with some of her friends, where we enjoyed some traditional Amerindian food.
Ken, could I serve you some of our Amerindian meal? We have, for example, the callaloo with some meat in it, pepper, a lot of pepper. Amerindians use a lot of pepper. And this is kasrip tuma pot. We call it tuma. This ground provisions, boiled ground provisions. We have yams and eddos. And would you taste some? This is fish, snook fish boiled in kasrip with salt, pepper, again a seasoning, and some sauce. And I'll give you some farine. Farine is like a grain made out of cassava, again. The South Savannas, the South Savannah Indians particularly use farine, but all like the Caribbean tribes, like my tribe, for example, we use cassava bread. Among my people, we eat from one pot, communally. Everybody would sit around one pot and just dip inside there and eat.
Okay then, let's share some with me then, huh?
Yes, I will.
Right.
While I was studying at the university too, and even maybe prior to that, I realized that my culture was different to the culture on the coast. And that sort of urged me to look inside of me, because growing up in an Amerindian community, I took my culture for granted. And I didn't see eating and waking up and walking and saying things in a different way was different to anybody else. And I realized that I was different, and from then on, I started to whip up consciousness within myself and said that there is an Amerindian culture, I ought to be proud about it, and so on. And because of this, I was sort of urged myself to work again hard and to compensate my people for the loss they had experienced through me just leaving the nursing profession and decided to go on my own. And that being so, I was very much interested. I got into like research in the languages, and I started off with doing research into the Akawayo and the Arikuna languages.
Iyombo merote koto tena sing. Iyombo merote koto tena sing.
I recognize some tunes in there somehow, you know. It must have a lot of different influences come from it.
That is
What's
true.
it? What do you mean?
I would ask my friend to explain.
Lauren, what is
In some, it's a song sung by a Carib man to a Negro girl. He's telling her that he loves her and that he wants to dance with her.
a Carib man with a Negro girl?
Yeah, singing to a Negro girl.
Those things happen?
Yes, in
Yeah?
contemporary Amerindian society.
Good. Just dance?
You find the intermixture. No, there are marriages as well, of course. It might very well lead to marriage.
Yeah.
Might be the
Go to Dominica
invitation.
and look at a reservation and see how those people, the first people in the Caribbean, have been treated. We realize that we have inherited a tradition of exploiting and brutalizing other people, which we have turned on those Amerindian people.
We are bound within a European framework that, that first of all regards as the first duty to multiply matter. And so long as we do that, we will continue to disregard the environment. I think that message of the Amerindians is the important message for survival.
Not only is the Amerindian or Aboriginal element important because it is the basis of our history and our culture, there is a denial of that presence to the detriment of the Caribbean. In other words, that there are all kinds of gateways and openings into alternatives that we deny ourselves.
We have survived 500 years after the coming of Columbus, and we were there 500 years before he came. There is no need to celebrate Columbus coming as far as we are concerned as indigenous peoples.
I think we should get ourselves organized and get in touch with organizations like the Caribbean Organization of Indigenous Peoples, World Council of Indigenous Peoples, and some other brother organizations like the Mosquito Organization in Nicaragua, and, you know, really get ourselves together and talk about what the Amerindian people want in the future.
Today, at last, the Amerindian peoples of the region are demanding their right to take their place in the family of the Caribbean. And as we mark the 500th anniversary of the voyage of Columbus, maybe we can lead the world in a true discovery of the region, taking a stand against the history of those years, and finally begin to listen to what we have so long ignored.
I'm bound to war with the sun on my face again. Kiskadee, singing away my pain. Ghosting across the Northland with my head up in a maze. Brahman chasing out the devil from Empire Day.